What's going on, guys? A lot of you guys have been saying I need to do some more YouTube video posts, and I agree with you. I enjoy doing them, but the time that it takes for me to edit them and get them stitched together and posted is what really deters me from doing them more often. You know, I'm not really a computer guy. I like working with my hands, so it's hard for me to find the time to get those done the way that I have been. So I thought this morning I'd do it a little different, kind of do a quick little one-take sort of video, just to give you some updates on the Gap single cab, what I got going on with it, where I'm at with the current project, and just so some of you guys that have been asking for some more YouTube content have a little something to watch. So here it is. We've got the rear torn down. We're doing the Ridetech 4-link in the back with coilovers. So I've been coming up to the shop in the mornings around 6, working until 9 or 9:30 just to try to knock some stuff out, trying to be consistent to get some stuff done. So the last few mornings I've stripped this down. Got the flip kit and the 4-link mostly torn off. You can see some of it's still on there, but we're working on pulling that off now. And got the frame cleaned up and painted. It's not perfect, but it's a whole lot better than it was. And you know, 180,000 miles on it. It was pretty grimy, so scraped it, wire brushed it, degreased it, and shot it with some epoxy. Just trying to work around what all is there and my lines and stuff, you know. Again, it ain't perfect, but it'll get the job done. So past few mornings, I've been cutting off the rear shock relocation brackets I had on there. A total of 8 of those. So got those cut off, the axle tubes cleaned up, because the Ridetech 4-link, obviously, it isn't going to use those, and they were in the way of some of the components. So got all that done, and we'll finish pulling the leaf springs off and start working on re-notching the frame and re-drilling the frame for the Ridetech notch kit. But the truck had a DJM flip kit on it. It had it on there for 10 or 12 years. And a lot of the reason I started doing the 4-link is because I started breaking the flip kit. The axle was actually rotating inside the brackets, and it started kind of bending and cracking this one. And I could actually feel it under transient throttle, you know, on and off the gas. I could actually feel it unsettle and the whole thing shift. So it was time, and if I'm gonna get in there and spend the time fixing it or changing it, decided to go ahead and do the 4-link, which is what I wanted to do long term anyway. So pulled the shock relocation off, pulled the DJM flip off of there, and getting ready to do the Ridetech parts. So I unboxed those this morning. I'll show you what we got here. You know, Ridetech stuff, it isn't cheap, it's expensive, but man, it's nice. It's all laser cut, powder coated. Everything is super high quality, so I'm always happy with their parts. But just to give you an idea, I mean, the DJM flip kit, there wasn't anything wrong with it. It's a pretty substantial piece, but take a look at it, you know, next to the Ridetech flip. Obviously, the Ridetech has pickup points for the coilovers and the 4-link setup, so it has to be more substantial, but I was kind of surprised to see just how wild their setup was. I mean, these things are so heavy that they're hard to handle one-handed. They fully wrap the frame, which is a nice feature. They bolt on the top, the bottom, and the sides. So really talking about adding some rigidity to the flip kit, or to the notch kit rather. And I'm gonna be a lot more comfortable with the frame flex that I had issues with. You know, with the regular standard flip, there's only held on by 8 bolts a side. So the steel's not as thick, but with it being fully boxed and having this support on the top side here, it'll definitely make a big difference to overall rigidity, I think. Got the panhard bar and the links down here. Uppers are the short ones, lowers are the fixed position ones. Panhard bar is the adjustable link. You got the axle brackets here in the coilover mounts. This is your lower pickup point for the coilover. Your upper pickup point is on the actual notch there. This is your panhard bar mount. It will clamp around the axle. Generally, it would bolt into the factory driver side shock mount. I don't have that on my truck because we have relocated the shocks in the past, so I will get that in position, get it clamped to the axle real tight, and it'll just kind of stitch weld it in place so that it can't rotate or shift on the axle tube. All your hardware, usually Ridetech will individually bag that, you know, based on what it's used for. So usually it's pretty easy to sort through all the hardware that they send out. I haven't even opened this. What's in here? U-bolt clamps for the axle brackets. Coil springs for the coilovers. Single adjustable monotubes. HQ series. So, general stuff here. The bed does have to come off, obviously, with the notch kit fully wrapping the frame. It has to come off, but also because for this kind of semi-boxed portion of the top of the bracket, you have to notch the bed support in 2 locations so that it'll sit down on the frame flush. So we're gonna do that while it's off. It's hanging underneath the 4-post. It's easier to lift it off the chassis that way when I'm working alone. So we go ahead and this morning finish out that notch and get those brackets on there and get going with it. So finally to the more exciting portion of the job here, where we're putting some shiny parts back on it instead of cutting and painting. Well, hopefully you guys enjoy the update. I'll try to do this a little more often, and we'll see you guys next time.